Peter, you've just finished 3 years as Director of Churches Tourism Network Wales. How do you see, in future developments of tourism, how do you see the role of faith and religious tourism?
I think the time has come, really. It's very, very timely, because faith tourism, religious tourism, however we describe it, hits a number of the buttons that now we're being told we have to hit for wider agendas as well as the tourism agenda. I suppose first up of those is sustainability and the idea of sustainable tourism. Tourism that not only provides an economic benefit, but also a social, environmental and a cultural benefit to communities in which that tourism is happening. And as there is a place of worship at the heart of every community across Wales, it's clear that there's an asset there that can be used to drive that kind of sustainable tourism, that new kind of tourism we're all after. I think the other thing is that modern life seems to be driving people to a renewed search for some kind of spiritual connection. They wouldn't necessarily see it, in the vast majority, in religious terms, but they are looking for kind of sanctuary, quiet places where they can reflect, and again, faith tourism or places of worship certainly offer that, if the doors are open, of course. And from a community benefit point of view, you, quoting others, have talked about the fact that every community has an art gallery, and that's called a church or a place of worship, and that, I think, is very meaningful. It does give a focus for every community to think about tourism, even if they're not already. Gives them a starting point, and maybe it's just a starting point for a series of very simple walks, or a link between a place of worship and other assets within a locality, a pub perhaps, a view, a scene, as I say, a small walk, a cycle ride, whatever. It gives a focus for that, and it's a focus that the community are reasonably comfortable with, because that place of worship has been in their midst for probably tens or hundreds of years. And then finally, I think we're told now that people want a learning experience, an active learning experience as part of their holiday or part of their break. No longer are they happy with sort of passive experiences, they want to be active. And therefore, places of worship offer that kind of active learning opportunity, whether it's to do with family history, or to the story of a community, or personal exploration in some kind of way. So, as I say, I think at the moment all of those suggest that this kind of tourism, faith tourism, has found its time. I don't think any of that's automatic, though, to be honest. I think it has to be worked at.
For the rural church, somewhere in the middle of Ceredigion or wherever, how do they benefit from this new vision of tourism? What's in it for them?
Well, they're getting more people through their doors, and once you've got people through their doors, you've got a couple of options, haven't you? You can think about how you can make some money out of them, either directly or for the sake of your community. So there's a sort of clear financial incentive, but more importantly, there's a way of getting across your story, and whether that's the direct story of your faith, or the story of your community, or the story of that particular building, that has to be an advantage. And in the end, I'm kind of a bit piqued in a way, in that if any of us go abroad for our holidays, to France or Spain or Italy, and we look in guidebooks, the first thing we're told about in any destination, even out in the rural areas of those countries, you look in the guidebook, the first thing they direct you to is the local church or the local chapel, and to tell you the architectural history or the family history of that place.
And finally, quickly, what are the next stages for CTNW?
Well, CTNW, I think, has made great strides, nothing to do with me necessarily, but over the past few years to broaden its range of expertise that it's brought together. And I'd like to see that going further. I think that needs to be broadened in terms of the kind of sectors we look for expertise, but also the denominations and indeed the religions that are covered by CTNW. I think we need to build on the strengths, enormous strengths of bringing together faith communities and tourism communities. I think that's the best thing that CTNW can do and has done extremely well. Wouldn't it be fantastic, for example, to think about that church in Ceredigion you're talking about, where the local vicar becomes the chair of his local or her local tourist association? Wouldn't that be a fantastic outcome? And I think that's where we should be trying to head, that we see faith communities as central to that tourism, wider tourism community, taking their place as a major attraction within that particular community. I think there is a job for CTNW in terms of exploring best practice in cultural and faith tourism, not just from around the corner, but across Europe or indeed further afield, across the world. I think CTNW is uniquely placed to bring that expertise to Wales and to share that expertise across Wales without fear or favour. No one else can do that. And I think there should be a newfound confidence really in realising that CTNW does now hold a repository of expertise, of experience, second to none, and influence indeed, which should be exercised judiciously, but exercised with Visit Wales, with people in faith communities, with the Welsh Assembly Government.
Peter Cole, thank you very much.